Can you describe working at the welfare, what that was like?
Oh, that was busy. They used to have, how many staff?
48 bar staff.
48 bar staff on a Friday, Saturday and Sunday night, and 20 cleaners used to go in the morning. And they've got 2 full-time groundsmen or gardeners and 2 part-timers. Because they've got 2 cricket pitches and 2 football pitches and all the gardens, and the gardens are beautiful around the welfare, aren't they?
Yeah.
So can you describe a typical Saturday night? What was it like?
Busy. Very busy. And there were no dishwashers, no glass washers. At the end of the night, you'd got hundreds of glasses to wash and dry and put away. In one room they had the dancing. They used to have a proper band with, for proper dancing in one room. And upstairs in the big room, used to have a group for the younger people or young at heart people. They had entertainment on, a singer or a comedian or whatever in the lounge area. Yeah. And then there was another lounge and a tap room, the quiet lounge,
with 2 billion.
And the tap room where
2 snooker tables,
snooker and darts and dominoes.
And they had bingo every night.
It was busy.
Yeah, bingo filled it, I think.
Oh, and bingo.
Yeah.
I forgot about bingo.
And what was the dancing? What sort of dancing was it?
It waltzes
really.
and in that sort of, quick step and bit of knocking off somebody else's wife and all that sort of thing.
On Friday night, yeah.
Quite a lot of that, actually.
Yeah.
You mentioned coming into work at the co-op in a Mini. And
yes, the Muriel Sprigg, Mrs. Sprigg, that lived just up the road, she had a hairdressing shop in Clipston and she used to give me a lift most mornings. And when the strike was on, they used to stop us where the Waterworks drive is. The police were all there and check in the boot of a Mini that we'd got no pickets hiding in there.
Yeah.
Which, they were very friendly, it was just a thing. I mean, I'm quite young and she was a lot, quite young, so stopping 2 young women in a car, just having a look round, I suppose it made the morning, really, the police.
And it was a daily occurrence.
Yeah. But didn't like it if any of the pickets happened to pop in the co-op for cigarettes. They really got the cold shoulder. In
what way would they be served, or?
Yes, they used to get served, but everybody stopped talking and everybody stood and waited till they'd gone out the door, usually with a few cat calls because it was mainly women, obviously, that came in the co-op, for a few cat calls from the women.
The landlady at the Dog refused to serve them. The first night they all came in, she says, all my customers are working miners. I don't want any trouble, so I don't want you locked in, so please don't come again. And that were it, and they stayed out. There were no trouble, they just turned around and walked out.
I didn't realise how much I liked it at the time, but I did, I loved it. Because, see, a lot of old people, they don't want a block of cheese. That's all you can buy these days. They'd like a little bit of Cheshire and a little bit of cheddar. So that's what they had. Or 2 slices of bacon, because they only had bacon on a Saturday, things like that. Now you've got to buy a pack, haven't you? So it was all like every job, really. There was a lot of people worked there, because there were a lot of jobs to do. Boning bacon and weighing butter up that was in the big tubs. Butter that you used to have to weigh up and all that sort of thing. 99.9% of the people that came in the co-op lived on the village. So if I knew them in the co-op, Lyndon knew them at the pit, and then we used to work behind the bar very often, either at the Squinting Cat or the welfare, and we used to serve them in the pub as well. So I was on the cigarette counter. We sold spirits and stuff, and Mr. Kerry used to come in every morning as soon as we opened, which was 8:30, and for 20-part drives. And I said, morning, Mr. I used to call him Benny when he was in the welfare and I was serving him, usual Benny, but when he came in the co-op it was Mr. Kerry. So I used to say, morning Mr. Kerry, 20-part drives, serving, cheerio. Not a word, never said a word. And one morning I said, morning Mr. Kerry, 20-part drives, And I leaned across, and miners and that in them days always wore a tie. I leaned across the counter and I got hold of his tie and I said, "Good morning, Mr. Kerry." And he said, "Oh, Janice, oh, Janice." Says, "I'm sorry, morning, Janice." And he's, every morning after that, he walked in the door, "Morning, Janice." I said, we also used to have a horse and cart come once a week and take all the orders out. We used to have to load the cart up, and then he'd take them out, you know, people that wanted the groceries delivery. And we used to have a book. Women had come in and have everything on tick.
Janice, can you tell me about going down the pit?
Yes, I was working behind the bar part-time at the Pearson Welfare, and the ladies that worked behind the bar got a chance to go down the pit one Sunday morning. So we duly went down, and I wasn't overly impressed. In fact, when I came up, I promised to get Lyndon a paper round instead of going down the pit every day. It was very dusty, very dark, and I didn't like it a bit. I was quite frightened, actually. I was frightened. You get images in your mind of when my husband Lyndon used to tell me about things, and you get images in your mind, but it's entirely different when you see it for yourself. The roadways were very rough, and you had to be careful where you put your feet, and you didn't bang your head and things. It was yes, I wouldn't do it again. We had to be there at 7 o'clock in the morning, and there weren't many men down the pit because it was more or less closed. It was more maintenance, and there were one or two that knew us, and they all knew that there were a gang of ladies coming down, so they'd all been told to modify the language, which probably we could have sworn just as good as they could. He used to take a tin of peaches and a tin of beans, as well as all his sandwiches and cake and pastries, because everybody made cakes and pastries in them days. And they used to have a snap tin, and that was all full of sandwiches. Then he had a bread bag full of sandwiches and things like sausage roll and pork pie. He didn't go hungry. No.
Yeah, I got quite an appetite them days. But you're working it off.
Yeah.
You know, if you're in the shop, you're swinging big hammers and that all day. So it was all took energy, didn't it, to want to replace it.